So as you all know, I keep my ears close to these financial and real estate streets, and they are talking. The word on the street today is that you do not want to buy a house this year. Yes, I said it, and I'll say it again for the people in the back. Do not buy a house this year. According to this article here, we are still in a very tight housing market. And not only that, but 75% of the people that decided to buy a house during this pandemic now have major regrets. So we are about to talk about it. We're about to get to the bottom of this and find out, is it really true that you should not buy a house right now, or are they just making noise? So don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. What's up, guys? This is Monique and welcome back to the channel. I am back with the news that you can use. But first, if you are new here, hello, bonjour, hola, aloha, konnichiwa, shalom. Thanks so much for stopping by, but don't just be a stranger. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the family. Also, while you're at it, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button on this video, because your like helps to get this info out to more people, and right now during these times we definitely need this. So we are going to dive right into why the people have spoken and said that right now may not be a good time to buy a house, and if you do, you may end up regretting it. And the last time I talked about this, I gave you guys some information on it, but it is time for an update because things have changed, and they have changed rather quickly. There's been a lot of predictions talking about the market's gonna get better by spring. Spring has sprung, and it has not done so. So I just want you guys to know that we are in some very unpredictable time, and we're going to start with the most talked about thing when it comes to housing right now. Well, one of the most talked about, because there's quite a few things going on, but that is the affordability of homes. According to this article, so many people are not able to afford to buy a home right now, and many of those that are buying homes are paying well over the price of the home, and so that means they're putting out way more money than what the home is actually worth. And that right there already puts you in a kind of compromising situation when you are buying a home, because of the fact that you're paying so much for it and it's not worth it. Later on, if you decide, you know what, I want to sell my house, you may end up losing in the end because of the fact that you paid well over what it was worth. So your pockets may hurt. And just to let you know, home prices are actually up by 34% since the start of the pandemic. And I just want to let you know, I'm not trying to discourage you from buying a home right now. I want you to know this information so that you do not be amongst the 75% that ended up regretting buying a home. And if you are going to buy a home, we just want to be smart about it and have all the information that we need to go about it the best way we can. But one reason that I have found a lot of people are unhappy because of their choice to buy a home right now is because of the fact that they had to settle for a smaller home, or just for less than what they wanted. You know how we create that wish list, and although I don't care how much money or how cheap or expensive a house may be, you may not always get everything on that wish list. However, a lot of people are getting way less than they normally would. And one of the things that I mentioned in a previous video is the fact that there is a low supply of homes. Well, there was a low supply of homes, and it was due to many different reasons, but because of that low supply, it created what is called bidding wars, where people were throwing money at these homes and spending way more than what it actually costs to be able to get the home. But right now we are starting to see the light a little bit. I don't know if it's much of a good thing though, but the supply of homes is improving due to the decrease in sales. A lot of people have pulled out of buying homes, which is increasing the supply because of public enemy number one, the mortgage rates. And these mortgage rates are making homes that were already expensive even more pricier. At the time of this recording, a 30-year fixed rate is about 5.53%, and that can make a huge difference in what type of house a person is able to afford. And I want to paint a picture for you, because this is one of the most important things that you have to consider when it comes to if you can buy a house right now. Can you actually afford it, and how much can you afford? And a lot of times when we say that the mortgage rate is increasing, people don't really see the significance of that, how it will really impact the amount of house that you are able to get. So let's take a quick look here at this mortgage calculator. So we'll just throw a number out there and say that we want to only spend about $1,200 a month on a mortgage, and just for the sake of this video, we'll say we're putting 5% down payment on it. So if you have an interest rate of 3%, that means that you can afford a house of about $250,000, and that will keep you in your $1,200 a month mortgage budget. However, with this mortgage rate increase of 5.5%, that don't sound like that much of a difference, right? 3%, 5%. But let me show you how much it is. So we're going to use the same situation. We want a $1,200 mortgage. We're going to put 5% down payment on it. And the mortgage rate will just do 5.5%. Look at this difference of the type of house you're able to get. At this rate, you'll have to get a house at about $190,000. That's a $60,000 difference because of the mortgage rate being 2.5% higher. And the thing about this is that the mortgage rates are expected to continue to rise this year because the Federal Reserve is trying to help fight inflation. So they've been increasing interest rates to try to combat that, but it is affecting us all over right now. And when I'm talking about these mortgage rates, one of the most important things is your credit score, because although the rate is around that 5.53%, that does not mean that's what you will get. If your score is not looking real pretty, then that means that that interest rate will be even higher, which will again affect how much house you can get and how much you have to pay a month. So these are just the things I want you to consider when you are thinking about getting a house. I'm going to tell you some more things, but do not rush into getting a house. And that's honestly one of the biggest reasons people regret buying a house during this pandemic, because they felt like they rushed into it. And a lot of people didn't realize that the house that they purchased needed much more work and maintenance, because something that many have been doing is waiving inspections, and I do not advise you to do that, because that's how they ended up in these situations that is costing them a lot of money, because they didn't take their time and go through the process. And I understand a lot of people are under pressure during this time. They are worried about other people outbidding them or getting into the house, so they're trying to rush it, but don't rush. Now, you know how they say you save the best for last, but this is really the most important thing that I want you to keep in mind when it comes to getting a house, figuring out if you should buy your house right now or not. And I've mentioned this again in a previous video about the fact that when you buy a home versus going into renting, that mortgages are pretty more stable and you don't really see an increase in the price, which could be a better option for a lot of people today, because rent is going up. Like, people are seeing rent double, and some are seeing them triple right now. So leaning towards buying a house may be something that you want to consider. However, you want to count all of the costs, because yes, the mortgage rate stays the same. Yes, you'll pay the same on the principal, but there are two things that can change and increase that amount that you end up paying a month. And the first is your property tax. That's something that you have absolutely no control over. That can increase, and that can end up changing the amount that you pay by a lot. So that's something that you want to consider in that budget when you're saying, I want to pay $1,200 a month. And this is something that a lot of people don't tell you, but you need to think about that. And another thing you want to consider is your home insurance, and that can increase the amount that you are paying. But you can always shop around for different insurance and get it cheaper. But let me tell you one thing, I just knew I had it made when I got my house. When me and my husband got here, we're like, oh, we're at a great price. And a year later, it increased by $300. Now, we weren't concerned with that, but that can be a huge difference for some people. And I know some people who actually had an increase of about $1,000. So I just want you all to be aware of all of these things when you are going into this process, so that you don't get any shocks later on and have to panic. And I just wanted to give you all an update, because we talked about this earlier this year, but things have changed obviously, because I think the mortgage rate back then was 4.05 when I updated you guys on that. Now it's 5.53, and it's going to continue to climb. So of course I will be continuing to update you as I get more information about this. I hope that this helped you guys today. If it did, drop it down in the comments, let me know. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content. Other than that, I thank you so much for watching, and until next time, we are out. Peace.